Advanced electronic signatures sit above simple signatures when trust matters more. They strengthen the link to the signer, help protect document integrity, and make tampering easier to detect. That makes them useful for higher risk transactions, stronger evidence, and regulatory expectations. So far, we've built the foundation: eIDAS 2.0, EU digital identity, trust services, and the business reasons electronic signatures matter. We also looked at simple electronic signatures, which are useful but limited when stronger evidence is needed. Now we move to advanced electronic signatures, where signer identification and document integrity become much more robust. An advanced electronic signature, or AdES, adds evidence around the signing event. It is not just a checkbox or typed name. It connects the signature to a specific signer, links it to the exact document, and helps reveal later changes. Under eIDAS, this often relies on cryptography, certificates, and audit records. AdES is stronger than a simple electronic signature, but it is still not automatically equivalent to a handwritten signature in the way a qualified electronic signature can be. To qualify as advanced, the signature has to meet 4 tests. First, it must be tied to one specific signer. Second, the signer must be identifiable through the process. Third, the signing data, such as credentials or keys, must remain under that signer's control. And fourth, the signature must be bound to the document so any later change is detectable. Together, these requirements create the assurance that simple electronic signatures usually lack. The first requirement is attribution. An advanced signature must point back to one identifiable signer, not just to a mailbox shared device or generic approval button. That link can come from identity checks, account credentials, certificates, or signing keys controlled by that person. The stronger the link, the less room there is for doubt later. In an audit or dispute, you can show who signed and why the signature belongs to them. Next is identity confidence. For AdES, the process must connect the signature to a real signer with reasonable confidence. That confidence can come from verified accounts, email or phone checks, ID document review, KYC steps, or certificate identity data. It does not always require the full identity proofing of a qualified signature, but it must be stronger than a simple click or typed name. Match the identity evidence to the transaction risk and document what you collect and keep. The third requirement focuses on control. An advanced electronic signature is stronger when the signing data cannot be used freely by anyone else. That might mean a private key, secure ID, mobile authenticator, MFA, or protected signing app. The key question is, could only the signer reasonably trigger the signature? Shared accounts, weak passwords, and unmanaged credentials break that link. They increase impersonation risk and reduce trust in the signature. The fourth requirement is document integrity. An advanced electronic signature is not attached like a picture of a name. It is cryptographically tied to the exact document content. A hash creates a unique fingerprint of that content, and the signature protects that fingerprint. If even one word, date, or clause changes later, the fingerprint no longer matches. That mismatch is the tamper alert. This is what helps prove that the version presented later is the version that was signed. Beyond the signed document, an AdES workflow creates an evidence package around the event. Audit logs show the sequence of actions. Timestamps anchor when each step occurred. Device and IP data help connect the session to a real context. Authentication records and certificates support who the signer was. Together, these elements let a verifier reconstruct the signing conditions and defend the result during compliance reviews, audits, or disputes. Think of AdES as an end-to-end trust process, not just a click to sign. First, the service establishes who the signer is, using authentication appropriate to the risk level. Then the signer reviews the document and gives clear intent to sign. The signature is applied in a way that binds the signer to that exact document. Finally, the system preserves the evidence, audit logs, timestamps, and verification data so the signature can be checked later. The practical choice is assurance versus friction. CES can work well for low-risk approvals, acknowledgements, or routine internal consent, where speed and simplicity matter most. AdES becomes more appropriate when you need stronger confidence in who signed, proof that the document was not altered, and a richer audit trail. The trade-off is cost, complexity, and user effort. So the signature level should match the transaction's risk and value. AdES often fits the middle ground, situations where a simple signature feels too weak, but a qualified signature may be more than the business needs. Think B2B contracts, regulated customer onboarding, employee acknowledgements, or insurance and finance workflows. The common thread is evidence. You may later need to prove who signed, what they intended, and that the document stayed intact. Choosing AdES is a risk decision, not an all-or-nothing legal choice. Use stronger signatures when the transaction has meaningful value, falls under regulation, or could realistically be challenged later. Also ask whether proving the signer's identity and detecting document changes would matter in a dispute. AdES adds assurance, but it can also add friction and cost. The right product choice matches the signing method to the actual consequence of failure. The main takeaway is that AdES is not just a product label. It depends on the controls around the signing process. Verify who the signer is, protect credentials, preserve evidence, and keep audit trails usable. Good governance maps signature types to risk levels, legal needs, and vendor requirements. AdES gives electronic signing real evidential strength, clearer signer linkage, stronger identity confidence, tamper detection, and audit trails that support business decisions. It is the practical middle ground between simple SES and qualified QES. Next, we move to QES, where maximum assurance and special eIDAS legal status become central.